How's it going? So last episode was pretty frustrating, and I think it came off pretty negative, my response to my first experience with the mBot. But I'm hoping this episode will make up for it, because I have to say, so I spent the week, learning about the MakeBlock coding, and I have to say it's pretty genius. Perfect for kids. And so we're going to go over that today, and hopefully maybe end on a brighter note. Now, I know in episode 1 I had said I was going to go through the projects, and I am. I think it's really important to really go through, I don't want to say a deep dive, a medium dive of how to program in the mBlock software. Again, there is still a drought of good documentation out there, but there were a few videos where people were showing how to do some really cool stuff. And I think going over it one more time, in this format, I think would be a good thing before we move on to the rest of the project. So we're looking right now. I have made the command decision. We're going to just work in the web tool, mainly because when we have to reset the factory software within the Arduino board, we can do that easily from within there. And so it looks like all the tools that I need are to do whatever I want are in there. And so it just seems like it's the most convenient to just do all the coding in there. So we're just going to be in there. We're at ide.mblock.cc is the address for this. I'll put it down below and in the description. And well, let's take a look. Here we have the screen. I think I went over this previously, but we have the screen. We do have our mBot device added, and we're going to go ahead and connect it. Now, I have not physically connected my device or powered it on, but we're going to do that now. And basically what you have here, so you have your devices, you have to connect your device. Okay, we're going to go ahead and connect. And we're on USB COM port 3. So we're going to say connect. And we get our acknowledgement from the bot. And you see we are connected. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into settings because I want to do a factory firmware update, just to make sure we've cleaned out the bot and we're starting from scratch. Otherwise, we won't be able to do any live updates. All right, so once the factory reset is done, we're good. I'm going to power the device off and back on just to make sure it's all clear. All right, and here we have it. All right, so we see here there are two modes for development. You have live mode and you have upload mode. In live mode, you're actually able to produce the code and run it on the bot as it's connected to the laptop. Now, in upload mode, you actually upload the program into the bot and it runs independently. So we're going to go live because we want to be able to experiment with this and see immediately what's going on and not have to keep redoing the firmware. All right, so you do have the user's guide. It's limited. You have some example programs. We'll check out some of these in a future episode. You have settings. Now, I do prefer dark mode, but we're not going to do that. Full screen, hide stage. So, on the screen, you'll see we have a couple of things. We have the blocks, which is pre-configured code. This is the genius part of this software, actually. And then you have the grid over here where you drop the blocks where you want to do coding. Okay. Let's go through the various blocks here on the left. We have looks. Now this applies to more of the modern versions of mBot that have an LCD screen. This allows you to show an image on the LCD screen, show text on it. We don't have the LCD display on this, but it's very likely we will invest in a future mBot, more modern version, and be able to demonstrate that. So we have show. This has colors and sounds. We have actions, moving, turning. We have sensing. Now, there are two sensors on the basic mBot. You have the ultrasonic sensors, which are the two eyes up front, and you've got the line follower on the bottom. So either one of these you can work with. You also have the IR remote, which we're going to get to enjoy in the next episode. You have events. So when you're in live mode, you have to use when mBot core starts up. You'll notice the other ones are grayed out, but you have to have when mBot, you have to have one of these. See how they have the top bubble on it? That's sort of a starting block. You have to have one of these bubble blocks to start with. Now, if you don't, you get an error when you try to do the upload. We're going to try a couple of these different ones today and see how they compare. Okay, you have controls. This is super important. This allows you to do if-thens, if-then else. So it has the options for decisions. It has the options for loops. So these control features are extraordinarily important to actually being able to do anything useful with the bot. You have operators, comparators, addition, Boolean, logic. So all your comparators, operations, and logic are here. You can set your own variables. For example, if you prefer to work in centimeters, you can do a conversion from centimeters to inches here. So there are, if you have larger sets of commands that you want to combine into something that you can reuse pretty quickly, you can set your own variables. We're not going to do any of that today. You have my blocks, so you can make your own blocks. Maybe that's a future video. And you have the extensions, which takes you out to other types of blocks that have been created that you can add in. We'll do that at a later date too. I want to focus on mainly basically everything from show to operators here. Show, action, sensing, events, control, and operators. Okay. So typically when you write something in code, you're going to write something that's going to look like, let's say we want to repeat forever. This is our looping. This will allow this to loop through and test over and over and over again. If ultrasonic sensor, then all LEDs will be red, else all LEDs will be green. And if it turns red, we want to play a note. For 30 seconds, 3 beats it says. Okay. So we're going to say ultrasonic sensor distance is greater than, and this is centimeters. So we're going to say greater than 2.5 centimeters per inch. So let's say greater than, if we say 10 centimeters. I want to flip that control because I want it to be less than operator. If it is less than, yes, everything is less than 50. We're going to turn that off. Sensing if ultrasonic sensor distance is less than 10. Then, okay, so what this should do is if it senses something within 4 inches of the front, it's going to turn red and it's going to make the noise. Well, we have to start it, and it started. Okay, so it's green. It's happy. It's green. It's looping through. It's seeing there's nothing within 4 inches. Something within 4 inches moving away. Okay, so what we've done there, now it's always checking. That's what the forever loop means. It's always checking to see if there's something within 4 inches or 10 centimeters of the, and if it detects something, it turns red and plays the sound. Pretty simple. Now, what does that code look like? If we were to actually if we would have to program this ourselves in Arduino, it's pretty good code. It's pretty lengthy. There's our loop, right? There's our buzzer tone. If ultrasonic distance is less than 10, buzzer tone, RGB color is red, RGB show, else RGB color is that color in show. So if we had to write this code ourselves, this is what we would write. I don't know many 8-year-old kids that could write that code. I do know an 8-year-old kid who could probably work through these blocks like this. So this is the genius. This is what makes this good for kids, because you can help build out that logic more visually than having to write the code yourself. And I think that's a great starting place for kids to understand the logic of what they're trying to do it versus teaching them syntax. It's great. I love it. Let's delete all this. Okay, we're going to do one more program here real quick. And what I'm going to do is a combination of sensor and then moving. We're just going to have it move ahead. If it senses anything, we're going to have it turn to the right a certain number of degrees and then just keep going and doing that. So basically automation moving forward with a little bit of obstacle avoidance. And let's see how that works. All right, so we're going to start out with when it starts up. We're going to wait 5 seconds. No, let's just make it 3. All right, so forever loop. So we want action. We want to move forward at 50%. And if the ultrasonic sensor distance, and again, this is in centimeters, so we're going to say if it's less than 10, which is 4 inches. Should we do 4? Maybe we'll do 8. So we'll say 20. If ultrasonic port distance is less than 8 inches, then we're going to, I want to make a show all red for 1 second. I want to play a tone for 1 second. And then I want to turn right at power 50% for 2 seconds. Now then it should move forward again. So here's what I think this program is going to do. It's going to move forward until it senses something within 8 inches of it. It's going to turn red. It's going to play a tone. It's going to turn right at 50% for 2 seconds. and then it's going to continue forward. That's what I hope it's going to do. Let's give it a little trial here. Right, we'll go live. Let's connect. Okay, we'll wait 3 seconds. Okay, it's moving forward, it's moving forward, it's moving forward. It senses something, plays a tone, turns right. Okay, I think that's going to work. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and stop this, and let's go ahead and upload the code. So in essence, what this should do now is, whoops, it started. Okay, so we're going to follow this around. What in essence this should do is object avoidance. So let's go ahead and unplug it. Let's put it on the floor and see how it does. Well, part of what we're doing is trial and error. So clearly that wasn't 100% successful. Let us make a few corrections on that. So we're turning right too far. We're also not detecting quickly enough. So let's say object is, we'll say 30 centimeters. And 50% for 2 seconds is too long. We'll say 70.75 seconds. Okay, let's upload this. We'll connect. We're gonna go ahead and try to overwrite the code. Okay, and it stopped after it went to upload. So we are able to upload right over the top of the code. It's just that the bot needs to be turned on. Okay, we're gonna power it off. We're gonna set it on the ground. We'll see if our improvements result in anything better. Well, we certainly got better turns out of that. Got hung up on a box. I'm wondering. So it feels like it's taking it a second to turn, and I think it's because in our order of operations, the turn is the last thing that it does. And so it's got to process turning on the lights, it's got to process making the sound, and then it makes its turn. So let us change the code, and we're going to make the turn first in the list and see if that doesn't help any. All right, let's go ahead and upload this. Okay, so clearly order of operations does matter. You got to give it enough time to process each of the commands, and if you're expecting an immediate response as far as movement or whatever, it needs to be first. Okay, so on that note, I showed you a few bits of programming, how we can command the robot, the ingeniousness of the MakeBlock code, especially for kids. So definitely a big step forward in being able to program the bot. Next week, we're going to continue with the projects, and we're going to work our way through the rest of the projects. Then we'll probably graduate and maybe upgrade to the mBot 2 and check that out a little bit. But in the meantime, I think after last episode's disappointment, this episode is 180 degrees opposite, and we did all the things we wanted to do with the bot. It's super fun. It definitely something I think with this type of coding kids would be able to work with. And yeah, definitely a step forward. Okay, on that note, we'll see you next week. We'll be working with the remote control and see how that goes. We'll see you next time. Bye now.